Hey guys, this is Eric Todd from Team HMB again, and today the question I'm answering is from someone who is having an issue with their grip strength being a limiting factor in their workouts. And so we're going to look at some things we can do to address that. The first thing, grip strength is multifaceted. You got supporting strength, crushing strength, pinch gripping, and a bunch of other things that go into it. So when we're talking about your grip strength being a limiting factor in just your lifting, I'm going to assume we're talking about support strength. And believe it or not, even though each of them is grip related, it's often a big difference in how you would go about training that. So when you're talking about support strength, it's talking about how much weight can I hold in my hands without my hands opening up as I'm doing the lift. And sometimes it could be an endurance type thing if you're talking about like a strongman event like farmer's walk or Hercules hold where you're hanging on to something for an extended period of time, or it could be support grip in say deadlift where you're a couple seconds it takes you to go from having the bar on the floor to standing upright to getting it back to the floor. Regardless, it's supporting type strength, and so we're going to address that. The first thing I can tell you is that in your training, stay away from straps as much as you can. As you're lifting, utilize your the actual strength of your hands as much as possible until you get to the point that you can't. Say I'm doing a partial deadlift in a rack, and it gets to the point where I want to continue going, but my grip strength is going to hold me back. Then it's all right to put straps on. But when I'm starting off, I work up through 400, 500, 600, 700 pounds, and I'm able to hold on to it with just the strength of my hands. I'm holding on to it with the strength of my hands. When it gets to the point that my back has more in it and my hands are going to start opening up, then it's okay to throw those straps on to continue getting that back workout without having to rely on the strength of your hands. But don't throw them on prematurely. Get as much out of your hands as you can, and then as you need it, add the straps. So that's one thing I would say. Another thing I can do with grippers, like say your iron mine grippers or your heavy grips, I'll crush the gripper and then I'll hold it crushed as long as I can. An endurance workout with that. So it's not necessarily how much can I close one time, it's how much close it and then hold on, which would be similar to keeping your grip closed with a heavy weight in it or a farmer's implement or something like that, keeping it closed, okay? So I'm not necessarily worried about can I close the number 3 one time, immediately open it, but closing the number 2 and holding it squeezed as long as I can, or closing the number 1 and holding it closed as long as I can to build up that endurance in your grip. Another thing I like to do for grip is would be like a bent over dumbbell row, and I go pretty heavy. I don't use straps in that movement, and I do it for repetitions, clearly for the back strength issue or the benefit of it, but also holding that heavy dumbbell in my hand with my hand closed as long as possible. Okay, so I like to go, depending on the weight I'm using, but between 10 and 20 repetitions usually, and your grip really takes a beating doing that, so that's something of benefit. And then the last thing might be a little unorthodox, I guess, but it's been the thing that I personally have found the most success from, is doing some kind of a manual labor with your hands. And I tell you, you look around and you look at these guys that swing an axe or swing a hammer all day or turn a wrench all day, and they're going to have, they might not touch a regular, they might not lift weights ever, but because of their manual labor, they're going to have some super grip on them. And so, when I started splitting wood, is one time when I really saw an increase in the strength of my grip. I spent a winter splitting a bunch of wood, and so after that I was like, wow. So even if you don't have a roof to put on by swinging a hammer, or you don't have, you know, trees that you need to cut down using an axe, or, you know, any of that type of stuff, take a sledgehammer outside and go wail on a tractor tire for a while, and really focus on, you know, my thought is not necessarily, you can get cardio out of that as well, but I want the blunt force trombo, just swinging that thing as hard as I can, bam, and I'm squeezing that grip down on it like you would if, you know, you were trying to send that wedge through a piece of wood to split it open. You know, I hang on tight, and after you do that over and over and over again, your grip is definitely going to see a benefit to it. So, you know, there you can look around and there's all kinds of other things you can do for different aspects of your grip. But as far as supporting grip for lifting, you know, doing strongman events or pulling deadlifts or things like that, those are some of the things that I found to be most beneficial. Till next time, guys.